Welcome to the Better Together podcast. We're your hosts, Kelly and Shawn Sundsvold, owners of GoldBear Media, where creativity and strategy come together to help brands grow. Today, we're joined by Victoria Duben, CEO of Viewst, a leader in digital ad tech, helping brands turn static designs into dynamic, scalable ads in seconds. With her engineering background and entrepreneurial drive, Victoria is reshaping how marketers create, collaborate, and perform better together. Okay, Victoria, thank you so much for being here. Before we dive into your journey, let's start with Viewst. For anyone who's not familiar, can you give like a quick overview of what you do and basically what makes Viewst different in the digital advertising space? Like basically like what's the magic behind it?
Yeah, sure. So first of all, it's a pleasure to be here today. Thanks for having me. And a couple of words about what I'm building. So Viewst is a design tool of choice for professional creative teams who work in marketing. And, there are many great tools out there which help designers produce different output, decks, websites, digital products, I don't know, cards, social media, whatever. But advertising and creatives which are used in advertising, they have so many different technical requirements, and there are so many little nuances designers have to follow in order to deliver the right output. And there is no companies who are addressing this very narrow niche. Because like most of the majors, like Canva, Figma, Adobe Suite, they are great tools for design as it is, but Viewst is more built for production purposes. So you have a design, your mock-up, and you need to produce lots of different derivatives to pull it to different media channels, display ad network, social ad network, digital out of home, and like everything you can think of. So Viewst was built specifically for this reason. And I would say it's quite unique. So there were no other companies who were thinking to address this particular challenge, because again, with the growth of AI analytics and AI productivity, it made it even more demanding to deliver lots of creative variations of a high quality at scale.
That's for sure. That's for sure.
And the AI itself is not tackling the production problem. So AI is great for producing assets like images, videos, like copy variations, but to assemble into a ready-to-use ad, we are far from being there. And Viewst is the solution, helping professional, and not only professional, but we are concentrating mostly on professional teams working with huge volumes. So Viewst is stepping in to actually automate and eliminate all manual routine while you kind of create all these derivatives, you animate them, you implement last minute changes, you communicate with your stakeholders involved in media buying. So this is briefly, or maybe not, about Viewst.
Yeah.
Awesome. I love that. And I'm curious to know what was happening in your world that you saw that this was a hole that needed to be filled. How did you come up with the idea?
Yeah. Funnily, I've never been involved into advertising and marketing, because I spent 10 years working in investment banking, and I used to be a portfolio manager, a sales trader. And at some point when I was on the crossroad and was looking, I was burned out, and I was thinking, what's next? I met my back then co-founder, and he invited me to join, a new venture, because he is a very talented engineer. And he approached me Vicky, you know everything about money, so let's combine our efforts. And, that sounded so fresh and so interesting. And of course, venture and startup world is something different I was dealing with, because I was trading public assets. with public income statements, balance sheets, and, analyzing macro. And, startups, it's a completely different thing. But it was so interesting. So I decided, okay, why not? And our first venture was in advertising and marketing space. And that's how I actually ended up being a founder entrepreneur in this space. But it was a tough journey, lots of mistakes, and I've learned so many things. But at the end of the day, I've realized, okay, I love building things from scratch, at least from 0 to 1. And when you have total creative freedom and you are not dependent on anybody else, you also get total responsibility. And this is another kind of thing. But I fell in love with building companies. And I started researching, because with the first one, I just joined his idea and I didn't have a chance to think, to research. I just jumped into and started heavily working on the thing. But after this negative experience, negative from one angle and positive from another angle, so I've realized, okay, I built a lot of connections in this industry. I learned a lot about this industry. So probably I need to dig deep and find what is the big market pain in this particular industry. And it was right before the COVID. So Canva actually pulled off, Canva, it was maybe 2017, 2018 when Canva surged a lot and became very popular, because the fast growth of influencers and advertisers started investing a lot of budgets into this space. And then Figma actually also kind of surged on bringing together designers and advertising and a new design experience in a browser and all together. And probably that was the point when I started thinking about, okay, and what about creativity in digital space? And probably that was the time where I read my first report first about, okay, we are moving into the era of hyper personalization, which means you need tons of creatives, right? If you're talking about hyper personalization, one. Second, I saw the first report about that, okay, it's not only about data, but creative actually drives the most value in return on ad spend. So, okay, it's probably, back then it was probably 60 versus 40 creative data. And I started investigating, okay, and how actually professional agencies are solving this problem. And I realized, this is a growing pain. And maybe back then it wasn't so big, 19, 20, but now it's just tremendous. And, there is another differentiator between Viewst and all other tools in the space. For some reason, it's very hard to say why we decided to choose this strategy. But when you're thinking about all majors okay, Figma, Canva, Adobe Suite, and when you design on Canvas, you operate with pixels and images. Mm-hmm. When you design in Viewst, you operate with pure HTML5 code underneath.
Wow. Okay.
So it's code versus pixels. And this is probably the biggest differentiator. And, all other smaller players in this niche. And again, when I started thinking about this problem, it wasn't, to be honest, it wasn't sexy, because, investors didn't like it, because there was no any single company who actually surged in this niche and delivered huge results and become outstanding or broke through. And investors thought that it's a small niche and it's not so interesting. And combined with the fact that end of 10th, probably it was 2018 or something, Seismic go bankrupt. Two other companies in edtech space who became public, they delisted, and everybody tried to avoid edtech. So, and it wasn't so popular. And I don't know. So I we decided, okay, let's tackle this because there is no other. Probably we were trying to solve it for ourselves as well. And then we decided, okay, there's no other place. Let's try to build something. And what it turned out to be a very unique add value during this AI race era. Mm-hmm. So when this, companies building generative models like Replay, Recraft, and a bunch of others started to shout out loud, like, okay, we are delivering a new model, like a video generating model or something. So they all started thinking, okay, and what is the nearest application of our models in real life? And they all started thinking about marketing, and they all started publishing like landing pages on their websites about, okay, ad generating machines. But after a couple of months, they all actually deleted those pages because, again, you generate assets, but then you need to assemble. Because otherwise, like, you generate an asset, you generate an image, but there's no any opportunity to edit it. And you need to write lots of prompts in order to generate something which is exactly what you need. And big brands who invest like millions of dollars into their creativity, they have very strict creative requirements. Mm-hmm. So you need to have an opportunity to tweak your, results. So all these companies realize, okay, we are far from delivering generating ad. The best you can find on the web that like there are like startups who built lots of templates, and then they say like, okay, AI generating. So you upload your brand book or like type your website. They use your assets like logos, fonts, maybe copies, everything. And then they fill their templates. Of course, huge number of variations because lots of templates, but it's not like AI generated. It's just templates filled.
Yes.
Refilled with your assets. And again, it's not applicable to big guys because they cannot look the same at the coffee shop around the corner because they invested lots of resources into delivering something unique and stand out, right? Mm-hmm. So, and in this new era of AI race, Viewst is becoming a unique data set. So Viewst is element level HTML5 data set generative models can learn from.
Interesting. Okay.
And Viewst is unique because like it's hard to train models on flat images. Impossible.
Right. It's interesting what you say. Being a creative myself, having used Figma, Canva, the whole Adobe suite, there's so much that you can build in those programs that then you have to move into like a website or a social ad, like you were saying, and the resizing of all that and the HTML behind it. Like, it would be nice just to be able to take a design and just have it do its thing. And then when you were talking about the companies that build the so-called AI generated, we've tested them because we get hit up a lot with, oh, well, AI can just do that. And they, purchase subscriptions to some of these platforms. And I'm like, yeah, I've seen that before on an orthodontics social media platform. I've seen that before on, another platform. But basically what you're saying you can do is you can plug in your brand and then it can be resized, reframed, however, but it'll be uniquely your business's, correct? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's so good.
Let's run an experiment.
Okay.
What I'm thinking about. So I'm sharing my screen just for a couple of minutes.
Yes. Yeah.
And I show you just one tiny thing, and we record your reaction. Like you upload your mock-up, your design, say from Figma, not to recreate it in Viewst. Then you are requested to deliver an HTML, right? So animated You easily animate it without coding in Viewst. You just click on the element, you choose an animation preset, you can, make it custom. So, okay, you animated the banner.
Nice.
So the great thing that you animated just one ratio and it automatically applies to all other ratios. But then you realize that you need like all display.
Mm-hmm.
You
and
choose
you can
the
do all
size
of that right within there. That's amazing.
So basically machine does it for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
oh my gosh.
they are all animated. So you don't have to manually animate one by one. You don't have to reassemble them one by one in different ratios. So we do everything for you. And when you download it, you download native HTML5. We optimize it for you so you don't have to worry about passing technical requirements. And when it's downloaded, it's accepted by all ad networks, you name it.
That's unbelievable. I just could see how this really changes the horizon of creatives. Well, let's shift a little bit and talk a little bit about your story. That's what, I love what you're doing with Viewst, and it's just amazing. But I do know that every founder hits a point where things get really hard. And what was kind of a moment that you were really tested that in your resilience of leadership? Like what happened? Maybe there's some sort of path that made you question this direction. And what did you take away from that experience and it still guides you today?
Sure. Okay, let's start from the first company. Luckily, we raised funds pretty quickly within like a couple of weeks from the moment we decided, okay, we need to fundraise. And I moved to New York, and my co-founder, who was CTO, he stayed in San Francisco. And just after maybe like 6 months, he realized he's not interested anymore, because it was the early rise of blockchain, and he was among the first engineers. And basically, he's now very famous in the space, and he participated. He launched probably one of the earliest ICOs. Remember, we had this.
Yeah.
It's like IPO but in crypto.
Yes.
So like, and he told me, okay, let's move together. Like, I invite you to join. And I was like, we fundraise. We have responsibilities, and I'm not able to kind of just leave. And I'm not this kind of person. So I don't know whether it's right or wrong, but this is my story. And so he operationally he left, but he kept the part of the company. And I tried to kind of, I did my best. And again, that was my early experience in building companies and like building a startup, and I failed. And that was a very hard experience, whenever you have to admit that you failed, and it's better to just stop and like do something else. That was very hard point, because I back then I was alone in New York, far from my family and close friends, and I had to report to investors. I was scared to death. And like before, and I used to be a professional tennis player when I was a kid, and it's a similar mindset. So you win, you lose, it's ups and downs, and you're concentrated on your vision, on your goal, and you invest everything in this. But again, in sports, like, okay, you lost, but you know that tomorrow you have like the next tournament, and you have your rating, and like, okay, maybe you lost the game, but you're up in your rating, right? You have more scores. But here, so I had to admit, I failed. I lost investors' money. I didn't reach like the goal I set for myself, and that was hard. That was probably first, very tough experience.
Yeah.
But then I decided, okay, thankfully I had a very wise investor who supported me through the spirit, and like who invested in the first company, and he said like. And he was a professional investor, and he had like he earned lots of money. He has done lots of investments, and he already lost a lot of his investments, because it's a venture. And he supported me. And I'm so grateful, because that gave me, the strength and energy. Okay, let's start all over again. And that's how I started Viewst. So Viewst is my already second company. And I would say the second very tough experience was, so, when this geopolitical situation actually exploded a few years ago, this Russian-Ukrainian war, and interest rates went up, and venture markets started, shutting down. Yeah. And I'm a solo female founder, and to be honest, and I'm like not non-American, right? And it's I was like I got all red flags from investors, like, okay, she's a solo founder, she's female, she's a solo. So, yes. And back then, the idea attracted some significant interest from tier one venture funds in the United States. And I was demoing at a very famous acceleration program. Tier one funds, they were talking to me, but then this situation happened. In a single day, they all disappeared. So they politely say, like, okay, like, it's too early for us, blah, blah, blah. So nothing related to real situation. And and one fund actually signed a check, but never sent money. Wow. And that was extremely hard. And that was exactly the moment when I found out that I'm pregnant.
No, I mean, congrats, but like the timing's way off.
Yeah, and I have the best man I could dream of. Like, he supported me, and he's also an entrepreneur. So it wasn't like, he has a stable cash flow and I'm like, I can do whatever. No, it was quite, I would say shaky situation for our family, but he supported me. And
that's amazing.
And that was a tough period. So, okay, I became a mom for the first time. Crazy. I have a startup. We got liquidity constraints, and at some point I delayed actually payrolls to my engineers. It was probably the biggest challenge, but what I've learned. So, okay, that's life. And I love the quote by Tom York. So it's easy to be miserable, but it's hard to be happy, something like this. And I started thinking, okay, that's life. It's like a tennis game. Okay, you win, you lose, but life is going on. And the biggest learning from all of this. So now I became much more tolerant to all these challenges, and they happen like every day. Okay, so at a smaller or a bigger scale, but like literally daily. And okay, whenever you're kind of rooted and you take care of yourself, you find time to, take care of your family. And, if you believe in your big vision and, you learn how not to take personally all the situation. That, again, that was a black swan, this macro. No one could think of. That's life. Okay, how we can pivot or do something. And so I negotiated with my team, and I was lucky, literally, so no one left. Yes, I have a small team. Awesome. But no one left, and we survived. And now we already work with big corporations, enterprises, across the United States, across the globe, to be honest. But to get to this point, there were several moments I was close to giving up. Like, okay, I'm so exhausted. I've done everything I could. But then, next morning you wake up, okay, what's next? So I would say these were two major challenges. And the founder life is just, okay, you need to find the strength to live your real life. And by the way, what helped me, to be honest, I moved to a countryside from a big city. It's nature, it's slow. There are no things that actually distracts you, right? So you're very
Yeah.
concentrated.
Less traffic too.
Yeah. So there's no traffic,
Yes.
literally you are kind of
Yeah.
sitting in one place, and one room is your office, another room is your, I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. We did
It's
the
you.
same thing. We moved from a city to the country and we have farm
Yeah,
fields now.
yeah. I believe this helped me big time.
I
That's amazing.
I love hearing your story of how you brought in like your tennis background and the the training and the focus and those kind of things as you've applied those to your business. How have you used that to and use those experiences to grow your team and shape your team and help them build that same level of resilience that you found as a company founder?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so first of all, I want to share a book that inspired me a lot. It's by former head of like HR at Netflix. How we build a culture of freedom and responsibility. It's a like red book. So I strongly recommend it to all founders.
We'll link
And
it. We'll link it in the show notes.
Definitely.
For sure.
yeah. So and how it helped me. So it's very practical. And in one of the chapters, that was a practical advice. We keep reporting to our investors like everything, but for some reasons, we never do to our employees. So they work hard, but in many cases, they don't understand the next checkpoint and the progress and the overall situation. So this made me very transparent with my team. I started reporting like everything. Okay, they're reporting me on how they build the product because the lion's share of my team, my small team, are engineers. And I started reporting back them about like our traction, my meetings with customers, my meeting with investors, like what I do, how I do, what are my constraints, what are my challenges. And they started feeling like, okay, we all bring something to like move forward. And whenever we had like tough times, I've never get $1 out of the company. So I realized, okay, this is my responsibility. They trust me, and I believe, okay, so at the very beginning, when I launched my second company, Viewst, I'm not a famous technical person. And usually, you are able to create a strong engineering team if you are a leader in the industry. They know you, they want to join you, right? And I wasn't. So I had to hire people, I would say, in between junior and middle. But I every day I showed up and like shared like, okay, guys, I've learned this new skill in order to help us move in there. I learned this new skill, and they all started learning by themselves and then bringing it to the company and sharing it. And another great advice from the book, she was telling that, okay, money is great, but you pay bonuses and like up and now I'm thinking maybe it's from the different book by Horowitz, like The Hard Thing About Hard Things. These two books
Okay.
I recommend. Don't remember from which one, but so there was advice. You pay them bonuses. Yeah, they feel, I don't know, dopamine or whatever, like for a couple of days or for a week, because usually they quickly spend those additional, money. And then, okay, what's next? And the biggest thing which brings people together every day, inspires them to come to work and do great things, are the great people they work with. So
Yeah.
they all trying to kind of grow together, right? And that was probably another like okay, secret sauce, or not so secret. And at the very first step when I hired those people, so yeah, they were maybe juniors to middle, but I tried to find people who are seeing the world like myself, right? So they are responsible, they are creative, they don't they're not scared kind of to fail, and that generally this helps us going through this hard times.
For sure. And you kind of mentioned it there a minute ago. You've taught your team a little bit of quote unquote how to fail, right? How has that changed your team, that they feel like they have the space to maybe to, not that it's intentional, right, but to make a mistake, right, or to how has that made them feel that they know that there's that space that something like that can happen and there's an opportunity to fix it?
Yeah, because I would say that we became more productive and more successful because we started like people became more initiative in a way, right? So they started bringing into the company like creative ideas, not so standard. Yeah, it definitely empowered our team. And I remember a couple of moments, because I was very transparent to the team. I remember a couple of moments when I came and like kind of said, okay, guys, I'm close to the point where I have my personal stop loss. So, okay, I need to cover my debt to you. And, I have like a certain stop loss. Okay, I can handle. Okay, I go and start working for somebody else, or like, I'll find a way. And we are very close to this point. I think that maybe I was even crying because, it took so much bravery, energy, and like everything to get to this point. And I remember a few one-on-one calls right after this meeting from my engineers. And most of them are like male, and they told me, Vicky, you're so strong and you bring us that far. So, okay, either we win or we kind of, sink all together. So don't you worry. We'll be fighting by your back to back. And
that's so amazing.
Yeah.
It's definitely a sign of a good leader. I love hearing how you've led your team through the roller coasters and just really stood by them, and they stood by you. There's loyalty there that you guys are almost building something together. So kind of shifting a little bit, looking ahead for both yourself and Viewst, what's next on the horizon? Do you have any projects that you're especially excited about? And then what's one big takeaway that you'd love our listeners to walk away with?
Okay, so talking about like projects, everything is now concentrated on Viewst, obviously, and we are entering the new stage of like when our awareness is growing fast and it's already word of mouth in the industry, and we are enjoying this new challenge and new stage of company development. And of course, like I have a long-term vision for myself as a person, and my next project would be non-profit, and I'm thinking about education for small kids who like don't have lots of kind of opportunities. Because looking like being a mom and looking around what's going like our crazy world, I start thinking, okay, everything depends on what if we teach our kids to dream, and that like and help them to learn things and become like strong individuals, we are going to live in a much better world. So like if I'm successful in what I'm doing now, and hopefully I will, so I'm already thinking about like my next step, and I would be happy to allocate my earnings into this nonprofit. This is
absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it's probably mom thing.
I can relate.
Because you dream that your kids live in a better world, right? And
Absolutely.
you should help them to build this better world.
What do you hope that our listeners, whether they're entrepreneurs, marketers, anything like that, what do you hope that they take away from hearing your story? Also, people who are just chasing their own ideas as an entrepreneur and kind of have this thing that they've been sitting on that they're like, oh, I wish I really would love this to happen.
This is the hardest question every time, because I don't feel that I'm the kind of person who had the right to like advise something or who am I? But I would say that, okay, if you like dream big, chase your dreams, don't be afraid to fail. That's life. That's how it happened. And don't forget to live your life like every single moment, every day, every week, because time is the most precious asset we have. Okay, health and time.
Yeah.
So
that's very true.
That's awesome.
Very, very true.
Thank you for that. So again, just kind of wrapping up here, how do people find you if they wanted to get more information on Viewst or, have a conversation with you? How can people find you?
I'm a pretty kind of easy reach out to person. So either by LinkedIn and I see all the messages, or at viewst.com, you can address there is an email or there is a chat on our website. And if you address it to a CEO, like my team, forward it to me 100%.
Well, thank you so much, Victoria, for being on our podcast. We're excited to see where this is all going to go. I saw that you had a sign up on your website that you can start now. So definitely, if you're curious and you're listening to this and you're curious how Victoria's software can work for you, definitely reach out, get a trial, let her show you around. So thank you so much for being on our podcast, and we will keep in touch.
Yeah, thanks for having me today, and the best of luck with your pod.
Thank you.
Thank you.